You guys said you were going to. I could have sworn
All right, how many equations do we need? Robbie, let's go.
I was getting help.
2. Why do we need 2?
Because there's only two things.
2 things we're trying to find, right? All right, what's the first equation? Ellie? For this one, what's the first equation you used? Good. The number of pennies plus the number of nickels is the number of coins. Good. Okay, the other one is what, Jocelyn?
0.01 P plus 0.05 N equals 2.
Good. You know what each coin is worth? So, and it told us that the total was $2.52. Again, I don't usually use the decimals like Jocelyn did, but nothing wrong with that. I usually just put 1, 5, and 252. Don't use the decimal points at all. Okay, either way is fine. So according to this, our A matrix is 1, 1, 0.01, 0.05. And we've got to remember to do what? Inverse, right? When we solve these. And then the B matrix is that. Anybody having issues putting them in your calculator? We're good? All right, so what's that equal? What'd you guys get? 82.34. 82 what? Pennies, right? And 34 nickels. So again, you didn't have to use the decimals if you didn't want to. It'll still work. It'll give you the same answer. Okay, just remember to go A inverse B. Questions on that? Anybody? Okay, so test tomorrow. So let's go over the practice test. All right, so this I want 3 answers. Which family does this belong to?
Absolute.
Absolute value, good. What if it's a parabola?
It would be a U.
Quadratic, right? A U. What if it's a straight line? Linear. It's going to be one of those 3, right? So know what family it belongs to. What's the domain of any of these families so far? All real numbers, very good. Any x value works. Yes.
For a linear, the range is always all real numbers too, right?
Yes. So if it's linear tomorrow, domain and range will be all real numbers. Okay. Remember, ranges are y's. Okay. Since this is going up, my v, is it greater than or equal to or less than or equal to?
Greater than.
Yeah, greater than or equal. If it was going down, then it would be less than or equal to. Now remember, it's my y values I'm looking at. Okay. So what's the smallest y value? No, y value. Right here, right? That's 0, isn't it? That's where we're at on the y. Okay, some of us missed this on the quiz we had. The x value is 3 in this, where it starts going up. The vertex is 3, 0, right? This point. But remember, the range is the y value. Justin.
Is it okay if we just put X, Y is greater than X? Or no?
No, you need to put 0. What number for the range? Gary.
So if x is -1, if x is -1, then would y be -1 too? Because when you go down, the lowest will also be -1 too.
Well, it depends where the graph is, you know.
Yeah.
You know, if it's down here, if that's the graph, then it's less than -1. Okay?
Yeah.
So it depends where your graph is. But that's where some of you messed up. You gave me the x value last time on the quiz. All right, remember, range is y values. So take care of the y value for range. Any other questions on the first one? Okay, so that's worth 5 points tomorrow. All right, so it's graph the function g, so that's this function, and its parent function. But what's the parent function since we're squaring it?
Quadratic.
Quadratic. Where's the points for the quadratic? Where is that parent function? 0, 0 is one of the points.
-1, 1.
-1, 1, yeah. 1, 1. Well, remember, the parent function is y or f, however you want to say, equals x squared, right? So what's 2 squared? 4. So 2, 4 is a point. And -2 squared is also +4. Okay? So that's where the parent function is for our quadratic. All right? If it's a absolute value, it's a v with the vertex at 0, 0, right? If it's linear, it's a line through 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, and so on. Okay? So know where the parent function goes for those. Now, what's this tell us? Up to, right? So we have to say that. Describing it. And what's this tell us? Right 5. Questions on y up to and right 5. And then we're supposed to graph that. Okay? So if I go up 2 and right 5, I think I'm here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So there's the vertex, the bottom of my parabola. So when we have our normal one, we're going left 1 and up 1, right? So I just went left 1 and up 1. And right 1 and up 1. I'm going to run out of room on the right here. Went left 2 and up 4, right? So left 2, up 1, 2, 3. So that would be up there. So it looks like this, and then I run out of room. Questions? Okay. So when we're doing something horizontally, we're changing what axis is it? The x, right? So that's why it moved right. It's the opposite what you think on horizontal stuff. Okay? Vertically is this way, which is which axis? Y. So that's the whole thing gets changed. So they added 2 to the whole thing to move it up 2. All right, we good with 1 and 2? Okay. All right, number 3. Reflection on the x-axis. So just think about this for a second. Let's say I had the point 2, 1. If I'm reflecting about the x, there's the x, the x-axis is this way. So I'm going to go down to here. Right? What point's that? So what changed? The y changes, right? When you reflect about the x, you're changing the y. Okay? You're changing the whole thing. Remember, f of x equals is like y equals. Right? So I'm changing that whole thing to its opposite. We went from +1 to -1 when we reflected. All right? So we're positive 2x plus 3. All right? We're changing to negative 2x plus 3, like that. Now, what are we supposed to do when it's written like that? We're supposed to simplify, right? So what do we do with that negative? Well, we distribute it. All right, good. So that would be the answer to number 5. Okay. Number 4, vertical compression. All right, so again, vertical. We're changing the y. So we're changing this whole thing. We're changing that whole thing by a factor of a third. Okay? So now, am I allowed to distribute the 1/3 into the absolute value?
No.
No, that's something we're not allowed to do. So all I'm doing is putting the 1/3 in front of the absolute value. I wanted to go right there. So 1/3 times the absolute value of 4x minus 2. Am I allowed to distribute to the 5? Yes, because that's not inside the absolute values, right? So what's 1/3 times 5?
5 and 1/3.
5/3, 5 over 3. You're just multiplying the 1 times the 5. So that's the answer for number 5. Okay? Questions? All right, number 6, or number 5. That was number 4. Number 5, we have two transformations. We're going to shift right, and then a vertical stretch by 4. Okay? So g of x will be 7, and then we're changing the x when it's a horizontal change, right or left. All right, so if we're going right 3, what do I write? X minus 3, opposite of what you think when it's horizontal. Right, if we were doing a horizontal stretch instead of vertical, we wouldn't use 4, what would we do? Well, if it said horizontal stretch instead of vertical, what are we doing with the 4? Reciprocal, right? When it's that horizontal stuff, it's the opposite of what you think. Okay, but this isn't opposite this time. But before I can do this, the vertical stretch, what am I supposed to do with this? To simplify it. Yeah, distribute your 7. Okay, so do that first. Simplify each step, do one at a time. So we did the shift right, and then distributed the 7, then a vertical stretch. Again, vertical, you're changing the y, so it's times the whole thing. So it's going to be 4 times this whole thing. So my final answer is 28x minus 84. So one step at a time and simplify. Rob, you got a question? Okay. We good? Okay, those 3 there are the probably ones that will give us the most trouble. Make sure you practice some of those tonight. The rest of it's pretty easy because what does all the work for you, the rest of it? Calculator, basically, right? Now, the last couple, you got to write the equations, but I think you're getting pretty good at writing equations now. All right, so this one, it's already set up. Is everything lined up like you want?
Yeah.
Okay. So as long as everything's lined up, we can go ahead. And our A matrix will be 5, 2, negative 4, 4, negative 3, 2. And if you miss it, it'll just be because you're going in a hurry and not taking those negative signs with you. All right, so take your time when you put it in. Make sure you put it in correctly. Don't forget about the negative sign. All right, then inverse. Don't forget about that. And then the B, negative 6, 20, and 8. So Alex, what's the answer? You guys agree with him?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should. That's right. So that means the X is 2 the y is -2, and the z is 3. Anybody need help with your calculator? Is it working correctly? Okay. All right, number 7. Table shows the number of ice cream cones sold for different outside temperatures. Do the data show a linear relationship? Okay? So how do I get my data in there? Robbie? How do I get my data in there? What are you going to push, even though it's not working? Yeah, stat. Okay? And then just hit enter. Look at your lists. All right? So my lists aren't the ones I want. So I go up and highlight L2, hit clear, and go back down. Go left, go up to highlight L1, hit clear, and go down. Now you're ready to put your list in. Okay? When it's horizontal like this, usually the top row is your X values, L1, and the bottom row is your Y's, L2. And it says that X and Y here for you. Okay? So 53, enter, 62, enter, 70, 82, and 90. All right, and then hit your right arrow key to move over. I did that. And then 90, 105, 117, 31, 147. All right, so make sure you just put those in correctly. The only way you're going to miss this, you put it in wrong, right? So just take your time. All right, so all I need to do is figure out the line of best fit, because it'll be able to, what do I look at to see if it shows a linear relationship? You can look at the scatter plot, but do I really need to if I look at where that screen gets me the equation?
Isn't it like the R squared?
The R value, yeah, not the R squared, the R value. What numbers do we want the R value to be to make it pretty good linear? +1 or -1? Really close to that, you know, in the 0.8s, 0.9s, or -0.8s, -0.9s, okay? So we really don't have to look at the scatter plot. Just go to the calculate part of your stats so that you can do your equation and you can look at that R value to tell if it's linear or not. So how do I get to that equation one? Stat. Then what?
Calculate.
Calc.
4.
Number 4. And then hit enter.
I think that's pretty accurate.
Okay, so my R value is 0.99, close to +1, right?
Very.
So what's my first answer? Yes or no? Yes. Right? It does show a linear relationship. All right. Second thing, right? If so, we're saying yes, write an equation of the line of fit. So that's from these two, right? Y equals 1.48 X plus B, which is 12.09. We've been going to 2 decimal places, right? So let's continue to do that. Questions on the equation? It's all from that screen, right? And then the other part we got to do is estimate how many ice cream cones are sold when it was 60 degrees. So how do I figure that out? Manny, how do I figure that out?
You substitute 60 in for X.
Right, just substitute 60 in for X. Right, Rob?
Yeah.
Again, let's stay focused when we go over this so we'll do well. Some of us need to do better because the last one that was kind of a tough quiz. This test is easier than the quiz, I think. All right, as long as you're focused as we go over this. When we do that, I think you get what, 100.989, I think is what it was, if I remember right. So we're talking about ice cream cones, so we might as well say 101, right? You're not going to make 8,900 of one, you're going to make a full one, right? Questions on number 10 or 7? It's worth 10. Okay, makes sense? All right, again, just putting it in your calculator should be a pretty easy problem for you. All right, here's another one. It says, the cost to park in a parking garage in Chicago is represented by this equation, y equals 15x plus 20, where y is the total cost in dollars and x is the time in hours. So basically it's $15 an hour, right, is what it's saying?
Yeah.
Plus there's some overhead cost, I guess. The table shows the total cost to park in a garage in Denver. Which city's parking garage charges more per hour and by how much more? So we have to use this data to figure out the equation for the Denver parking garage. So go back to stat and edit, and we have to clear our list. All right, and I need a 2, 3, 4, and 5. And there. And then 43, 51, 59, and 67. All right, and then go back to stat, calc, 4, enter, and there's our answer. So what's the equation for Denver, Liz?
8x plus 27 equals 1.
Good. Again, we're just looking at these two lines, right? Any questions on how we got that? So this is saying it's $8 an hour. So which one's more expensive? Chicago, by how much? $7, right? Make sure you answer the next part. You know, there's 2 parts to this. After how many hours would parking in both cities cost the same? So Nathan, what do I have to do to figure that out? Yeah, just put your 2 equations equal to each other. So 15x plus 20 equals 8x plus 27. You guys understand that? Any questions on that? Same means equal. So just set them equal once you have the 2, and then solve for x. And whatever x is will tell us how many hours that they'll be the same. So I'm going to subtract 8x from the right side over to the left. I'm also going to take the 20 from the left over to the right. This works out pretty nice. 7x on the left and 7. So what's x equal? 1. So after 1 hour, they'll be the same price. All right, 8 times 1 is 8 plus 27 is 35, right? And then 15 times 1 is 15 plus 20 is 35. So after $35 after the first hour for both parking garages. Questions on number 8? It's worth 10 points also.
This worth 65 points, right?
70.
Oh.
I think I added that right. The first 6 were 5, right? Isn't that what I had?
Yeah.
Which is 30, right? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And then 40 and 50, right, for these two. And then the last two are 60 and 70, right? Yeah, so 70 points. All right, so what am I looking for here? 3 orders, right? So I need a 3 by 3. All right, so I just used S for sandwich. So 1 sandwich. A juice means 1 juice, right?
Yeah.
And a fruit cup means 1 fruit cup. Was, oops, I need an F for fruit cup, right? Was $9. Pretty easy to write that equation in. And then 2 sandwiches plus 1 juice and 2 fruit cups was $16.50. And then 3 sandwiches and 2 juices and 1 fruit cup was $19. Any issues setting those up? Joe, what'd you get?
I messed it up.
You fixing it now?
Yeah, I put consecutive phase, I put 0 juice.
Oh, put 0 instead. Okay, if it didn't tell us, it said no juice, then that would be correct. You do put a 0 in that spot, okay? So if something's not there, or they're not using it to total the cost, you can put a 0 there. All right, Noel, what'd you get? 1.5, you said, right? That is correct. All right, so this was our sandwich, this was our juice, and this was our fruit cup. All right. And the last one is only 2 things we're looking for, right? So we got nickels and quarters this time. So the number of nickels plus the number of quarters is how much? 14 coins, right? So again, they'll give you a number of coins or whatever it is. So it's just number of nickels, number of quarters is equal to 14. Remember, nickels have a 5-cent value and a quarter has a 25-cent value, and the total value of our money that we have is $1.70. So I did not use the decimal points, so the $1.70, don't use the decimal point. Okay? So when we put that in, remember we have to change it to a 2 by 2. You know how to change it, don't you?
Yeah.
When you go to edit, just put 2 enter, 2 enter, and it'll give you 4 spots to fill in. Okay? So 11525 for A, inverse 14170 for B, and what you get? Time.
9 nickel, 5 quarters.
That is correct. Any questions on the 2 word problems?
No.
Does this seem that difficult?
No.
No, I think you're ready if you've been focused, paying attention. All right, so practice a little bit tonight. You'll be ready.
Where you make it only a 2 by 1.
There might be.
Okay.
I don't remember, but I think there might be.
Okay.
But you make a line.